Okay, folks. So, what's the big talking point? Wherever you go, whether you're in Delhi or Mumbai or in Ahmedabad, everybody wants to know what is Modi 3.0 union budget really going to look like? With me, noted political commentator, author, economy watcher, our dear friend Shankkar Aiyar, joining us live today. Great to have you as always, Shankar.
Always a pleasure, Bhupin.
Shankar, one of the things which I have been looking at is that while we say that this is Modi 3.0, but is this really Modi 3.0? Because this will be the first time that Narendra Modi, in his entire political career, right since the time when he was a Gujarat chief minister, his government will now be presenting a budget which is actually a coalition government, a minority government. Firstly, tell me what's the significance of that from an economic standpoint?
Well, the thesis is that majority makes decisions easier, but practice tells you that actually events decide. So, if you look at India's history,
Hmm.
you have had some of the most significant decisions, important milestone decisions taken when the government was a coalition government, whether it was the 1991 reforms, it was driven by events, the crisis, the 1997 budget, which was again a function of what India was going through in terms of foreign direct investment. You look at the Vajpayee government, it was the economy, privatization, the opening up, all of that happened because of, we were dealing with the sanctions and the post sanctions. The US had imposed sanctions after the Pokhran test, so we were dealing with that.
Hmm.
If you look at the fastest pace of growth in three successive years, it was during the Manmohan Singh first term when it was a pure minority government in that sense. And in contrast, if you look at what has happened in the last 10 years, we had a majority government.
Hmm.
Uh, and the major policy decisions could not be taken. Now, you ask me what is the major policy decision that I want to see in this government. So, there
Hmm.
is, Bhupen, and you come from Uttar Pradesh, you've seen the agrarian economy in that state. And during your election travels also, you've noticed this agrarian district.
Hmm.
Now, 45% of India's workforce, which is roughly half of India's workforce,
Hmm.
depends on agriculture.
Hmm.
And they live on one-sixth of the national income.
Hmm.
This is the baseline statistic you have to remember whenever you discuss economy. क्या हो रहा है, कैसे हो रहा है? This is
This is the
what
reality. This
is
is the real India. This is
the
the real India.
reality. So they tried to get better pricing for land, which finally, after in the first term, they did the Land Acquisition Act and didn't work out. Finally, they learned the lesson thanks to Shivraj Chauhan and the states do it.
Hmm.
Then they made the same error again on the farm laws. It should have been left to the states. Now, again, if you look at it, the farm laws were withdrawn sometime in 2020. We are now in 2024. The
Hmm.
BJP roughly on an average has about is in power about 12 to 15 states. Have any of the states taken up the farm laws? Farm laws? No.
Hmm.
I mean, there is a lot of talk about farmers going on ONDC, farmers on e-market and farmers on मोटा मोटी क्या है उनकी आमदनी बढ़ी है? That is the question, and this
So
is the
how so but
decision that they are unable to take.
so that's my point. That's my point. In 2014, Narendra Modi led BJP was at 282. In 2019, Narendra Modi led BJP was at 303. Well, in 2024, Narendra Modi BJP now is at 240. So we had the world's expectations from the BJP when the BJP was commanding absolute majority, on its own in parliament. Is it time to temper down expectations? Is that the way to look at Narendra Modi as a coalition leader? Or would you say that actually the direction of Indian economy is such that no matter whether you're at 240 or at 272 or at 303, the economy will move on its own trajectory that is settled? Is that the way to look at the situation today?
Well, let's put it this way: the I am completely convinced, totally convinced uh, that India's economic growth depends on its demography, on its entrepreneurship, on its tech prowess, and where we stand in the global geopolitical intersection now. So it doesn't matter whether you're a coalition or a majority or whatever. What matters is, can you go from the 6.5% growth story to the 8.5% growth story? Can you solve the problems of unemployment, agrarian distress, and education and health? Those are the questions really. So if you look at it in
But you
terms
get
of
that sense. But Shankar,
expectations,
just to hold you, expectations are the two factors that you spoke about, rural distress, unemployment, for instance. Is there really an acknowledgement that unemployment is a problem? Because even today, I can tell you the word that I get from the Prime Minister's office is that it's not a problem, that there are enough jobs which are there, that a record number of subscriptions are taking place in the EPFO. Citibank comes up with a report, and immediately there was a strong rebuttal from the Press Information Bureau. How are you going to solve a problem if there is no acknowledgement that that problem exists?
you see, this like the famous story of the dog that didn't bark in the night kind of thing. So for 4 5 years, everybody sort of went on, and then suddenly you had elections, and everybody started talking about jobs. Some 8 years back, I pointed out in a column of mine that there are roughly 3 million government posts which are vacant.
Hmm.
They're still vacant. So are we saying that we don't have people to man them, or that these posts are redundant? These posts are, by the way, in education, health, and police personnel,
Hmm.
and in central paramilitary forces.
Hmm.
Are we saying that the government can't afford these costs? Should
Hmm.
we be then manning health and education, or should we be building chakachak, Vande Bharat and airports?
Hmm.
Those are the questions, really. So
Hmm.
I don't think that the fundamentals of Indian economy change. What will change is how foreign investment perceives India. You look at the savings growth and its movement away from bank deposits to stock markets.
Hmm.
I mean, in 1 year, we opened 87 million SIP accounts. It's not a small, that's the number of SIP accounts countries have in their whole in total. It's
Hmm.
like India's exit polls and the total polls of UK. I mean, the total number of people who voted in UK is equal to the number of
Hmm.
people we poll in exit polls.
And
So the
exist
scale
polls.
is very different, and the problems are magnified because of the scale. I am not uh, in convinced that the expectations have to change. I think politicians respond to situations. Are we saying that Mr. Modi doesn't know there is distress in the rural areas, that he hasn't sensed it,
No, but
or
my
are we
question is,
saying that
Narendra Modi at 282 and 303 could still maybe blend reality with optics. When Narendra Modi is at 240 and he has Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar breathing down his neck, how does he deal with that situation? Because optics now perhaps just on their own are not going to work, Shankar.
well, if you remember, Bhupen, in and optics didn't work. It's just that the optics kept getting flashed, and the government, being the second largest or the largest advertisers on linear TV, has made it easier for them. But let's go back to Mr. Modi's career. Actually, the first regime that he headed in Gujarat was a coalition.
Hmm.
See, even in the first term of Modi 1.0, there were always murmurs of the allies that we are not being asked, we are not being consulted, whatever. But he could do it. Now the situation is that he may not be able to take disastrous decisions like demonetization and stuff like that,
Hmm.
because that will really risk his regime.
Hmm.
But the pressure from what is Bihar saying, what is Andhra Pradesh saying, what is Nitish Kumar saying, what is Chandrababu Naidu saying, is
Hmm.
not different from the what the rest of India is saying. I mean, they are in dire straits. The other states are having their own issues.
Hmm.
So I think to start with, the demands being made by Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu will be referred to the Finance Commission.
Hmm.
So they will say, you convince the Finance Commission for a special grant or special status, and we'll come to that.
Hmm.
And he will announce some popular packages for it. What so majority governments can be populist and coalition governments can also be populist. If you recall, the second term of UPA became extraordinarily populist and we landed in all those bank NPAs and loans and stuff like that. In 1989, VP Singh came to power and declared the coffers are empty, and then went on to announce the first farm loan waiver scheme. And then you referred to the farm loan waivers announced by Chidambaram in 2009. So I think events determine policy. I don't think there is any ideological or doctrinal approach in India.
No, but that's the exact crux of this argument. That the fear which is being expressed is that Modi at 240 may well be forced to be a populist leader, maybe smarting from the defeats in, let's say, in the Hindi heartland, whereas Modi at 282 and Modi at 303 was not a populist leader. Firstly, do you agree with that? Because did we not, even in 2014, wasn't the biggest plan outlay made towards Manrega only, which was a scheme which was lampooned at by the BJP when the BJP was in opposition? Isn't it true that the BJP is giving free food to 80 crore families, which they say is constructive interventionism? This debate between constructive interventionism when you're in a majority government and populism when you're in a minority government, how do these two contrarian stands add up for you, Shankkar?
Well, the definition of populism depends where you are sitting in, whether you're in the treasury or in the opposition. So, or whether you're facing the election or you have just got elected. So let's look at it. Has the Modi government been populist? Let's look at it. We run the world's largest free ration program, 813 million people. We run the world's largest health insurance program, 500 million people. We run the largest farmer income support program, about 100 million people. We run the largest rural employment guarantee scheme, roughly 240 million people are enrolled on. Is the BJP non-populist? Look at what they did in Maharashtra. Before the election, they topped up the PM Kisan scheme with another 3,000 extra, along with the 6,000 the center. Did it pay dividends? No. Did they learn from it? No. Because last month they announced another scheme of 1,500 rupees for women. Now, this is desperation or this is strategy? We don't know. Is this populism? Is it reverie as the PM calls it? Or is it social welfare? So the thing is that everything is contextual in Indian politics.
No, that's the point. So when you take the same decision, my point, Shankkar, is when you take the same decision of giving free food, free rations, subsidies as a minority government, as a coalition government, does it become populism? So everything you do as minority government, is it populist?
So, well, whether a majority government's decisions were not populist, almost all the states where the BJP ruled, they had a majority. They got thumping majority in UP and elsewhere. But they did populism there. So, I mean, so they said that direct benefit transfer is not populism, but you're giving cash. This is a government which is actually providing private goods to people. Ujjwala is a private good. It's not a public service. It's a private good you're giving to one household. You're giving homes. The Prime Minister's Awas Yojana it goes to the private. It's a good. I'm not questioning the need for it. I'm saying that political parties are very convenient with their convictions. अब आज के लिए ये ताल सुर गाएंगे, अगले दिन दूसरा सुर ताल का. So, I mean, see, 10 or 11 states are giving this transfer to women. How many of them have benefited from the votes or not? We don't know. It will be interesting to map this actually.
And what about the two critical allies, Shankkar? We were speaking about them. Nitish Kumar for the longest time has been chasing a special package for Bihar. Chandrababu Naidu has now jumped in. In fact, you would remember, Chandrababu Naidu had once walked out of the NDA meeting when he was not getting the special package which he was looking for. Do you anticipate this demand for special packages? How does it really weigh on a Narendra Modi DNA, on a Narendra Modi persona with 240?
It in terms of what are he will weigh the options available to a Nitish Kumar or a Chandrababu Naidu, whether they can go elsewhere. If he assesses that they can't go elsewhere, he will sort of work with them and sort of do the management accordingly. But here's the thing that, Chandrababu Naidu in Vajpayee's government, and I wrote about this in 2002, and the first line of my column in India Today said the Nizam would have approved, because he was extracting on the support of 27 MPs, he was extracting from the NDA government, and everybody in the NDA government said he's taking food for work program, he's taking ration, he's taking subsidies, taking those, whatever. Then he walked out. Now Nitish Kumar came out of the Bihar Lalu alliance and said that I am going to get special status. Then he has been in and out of NDA like people move out of the goal chakkars in Delhi. So, he's sort of coming back, going in. Similarly, Chandrababu Naidu, in his second term also, he wanted a special status, walked out of this alliance because he didn't get it. Now, this special status is nothing but more money. So, whether the government has more money, we don't know. There might be something saying that, okay, we will give you. Now, Chandrababu Naidu has asked for 1 lakh crore, Nitish Kumar has asked for some 40,000 crores. And so people are going to sort of, in the finance ministry, are going to say, we don't have the money, put up their hands, and then they will figure out a way to sort of promise but not deliver, announce but not execute. There are various ways to do this. I don't think the Indian budget can take up something. Neither can is it politically sustainable to give 2 out of 30 states such huge amounts of money. So we will see exciting times ahead, depending on how you sell the story. So Mr. Modi has a hard marketing act ahead of him.
Okay, so final question then to you, Shankkar. What would each budget of the Prime Minister, both in 14 and 19, there were some critical things that we looked out for. In 2014, it was a clear blue sky. In 2019, well, you had that big, humongous mandate of 303 seats. Now in 2024, what would be that one thing which you'd be looking out for, which will tell you that actually it's work as usual, it's business as usual, nothing is changing as far as Narendra Modi's economic management is concerned?
First, the language of the budget speech. So normally the language of the budget speech is it's like a touchdown on every airport around the country and every railway station around the country, touch all the constituencies. That is normally the thing. So we know, okay, incrementalism persists, incrementalism continues. So you can call it continuity. I don't expect any big bang thing. What I do expect is some kind of announcement, which may not be in the budget, which may be on the Independence Day speech, of a new welfare program, which will sort of draw the attention of the voters. Because you remember, we are going into polls in Maharashtra, Haryana, Jharkhand, and probably Jammu and Kashmir. So that constituency, that urgency will be addressed there.
So you expect a bigger announcement around the 15th of August and not in July right now?
Depends on his political timing when they kick off the campaign for those states. So I think the moment you announce something, you have to take it to the people. July is not exactly the dry month that to do that, whereas August might be able to do it.
Okay.
The budget will say set up a committee or some such thing will be announced there. I don't expect the budget to be. None of the last 10 budgets have in any way greatly reformist or anything. The one good thing I like about the Modi budgets is the constant focus on execution, on infrastructure, and that sort of delivers some of them. What I don't like is that they show one number and they undercharge the two critical elements, which is education and healthcare. Hopefully, they will pump that up. I think this whole thing of, just to conclude, the whole discussion about populist and non-populist is a figment of the investment banking community's imagination. All budgets in the last 20 years have been equally populist and reformist, according to me.
Okay. All right. Always a pleasure speaking to you, Shankkar. I guess we'll know what is constructive interventionism and what is populism, maybe in that gap, as you point out, between 23rd July and 15th of August. Thanks very much. Thanks very much.
Thank you.